up early. My whole life is really about teaching people exceptionalism. And one of the real strategies for high performance and leading without a title is getting up early. You might say getting up early is not really relevant to you. And yet, if I look at the best of the best, whether it's in business, in science, in the arts, in sports, these are people who have trained their brains to show up at discipline. And getting up early is not only an incredible competitive advantage because most of your competitors are asleep, but getting up early is a great gift to give yourself. You get more life. Ben Franklin said it really well. He said, there'll be plenty of time to sleep when you're dead. So getting up early and giving yourself that 60-minute personal leadership hour.
There we go.
Practice and you prepare, just like Beckham practices to be world-class as a footballer, or Hamilton Lewis practices on the track to be a world-class car racer, or Mozart practiced to be a world-class composer.
Woo! All right, there we go. YouTube, we are finally back in action. You did not want to let me get this message out, but nonetheless, it's getting out today. We're making sure the squad is getting the value. They're getting this knowledge for today. But first and foremost, let me go ahead and get live on IG real quick, and we're going to go ahead and get into today on the 5 tips from one of my favorite books ever, The 5 a.m. Club, from a legendary author by the name of Robin Sharma. If you guys have not ever had a chance to hear who this author is or get a chance to read this book, let me know, and I will actually send you a free PDF so you guys can actually start diving in and reading this book. But today, I'm going to give you 5 tips, 5 rules straight out of this read. So with no further ado, IG, we are live. What is everybody grateful for coming into this beautiful day? Where we at? Thursday, August 3rd. So grateful to be alive. Grateful for God. Winning with grace. Good morning. It's good to see you. Grateful to be able to be on here, to be a witness along all of your journeys, to see you grow, to see you level up every single day. Grateful for water, right? The alkaline, shout out to the Conga water. So grateful for the morning routines, diving in day 379, getting close to 380. Thank you for taking the time for yourselves. Thank you for growing every day. Thank you for everything that we have right here at our fingertips and that we are ready to go ahead and take full advantage of in the second half of 2023. So here we go. Let's get into it. I'm going to keep this short and sweet because YouTube didn't want to get this out. So here we go. 5 tips, right, on how to really go ahead and master the morning, really mastering our life. Much love, Cedric. Love you too, brother. Let's get into it. All right, so first things first. The first tip, right, from the 5 a.m. Club, Robin Sharma talks about inside of here is he goes over this, and this is such an important concept. He talks about in addiction to distraction. He calls it is the end of our creative production. Woo! In addition to a distraction is the end of our creative production. He says empire makers and history creators take at least 1 hour for themselves around dawn in the serenity that lies beyond the clutches of complexity to prepare themselves for a world-class day. So you got to think about it, right? How many of all of us woken up and had one bad thing, had one negative thought, had that one message that ruins the whole day? The whole rest 23 hours of the day are ruined because we got fired up. We got too emotional, not knowing how to go ahead and respond instead of most of us are reacting in our day. So a big piece of this comes from actually taking time for ourselves to get into the morning rituals, right? Neno's call today talked about God in isolation, right? Taking a little bit of time for ourselves to elevate, right? Isolating to elevate. Well, this is crucial. And I adopted this years ago, right? The morning time is sacred. The morning time, no calls, no text, no message. That's the time to go ahead and pour into my cup. Because you know what I realized over time? If we don't pour into our cup in the morning, guess what happens? Life is always going to keep pulling from the cup. So if we don't have anything that's in the cup, let alone if we don't have an overflow to go and pour out into the world and into everybody else, this is the exact reason why so many feel drained how many times do we feel that? Do we hear that word? I'm drained. I'm tired. I'm lazy. I'm not in the mood. Why is that? Because there's not enough inside of the cup. It took me a long time to realize it, but it finally makes sense, right? So that's the first one. Pouring into you in the morning. People tell me, well, D, I have a job. D, I have a family. This is gonna be the difference. Getting up that extra hour earlier, maybe before everybody else is up, Maybe so you can get an hour at least into yourself. I'm not saying you have to go and wake up at 5 a.m. tomorrow, but we can start small. If you're getting up at 8, we can start getting up at 7, right? Starting small. That was one of my biggest weaknesses. I used to get up late until I started to see there was people that would do in the morning more than I would do in a whole day. And I kept seeing so many individuals have quantum leaps, one after the next. And I always wondered what was one of the biggest secrets and keys that they utilize. This was it. The 5 a.m. club, right? Learning part of these 5 tips, these 5 rules right here. So that's going to be number 1. Number 2 is going to be excuses breed no genius. Excuses breed no genius. Just because we haven't done it before doesn't mean that we're not going to be able to do it coming into the future. Some people say, well, D, I'm not an early bird. I'm not a morning person. Well, you know what? Neither was I. I used to stay up late and I used to get up late, and I used to think that was the real flex. I used to think staying up late was the real flex until I started studying individuals like Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, right? Jeff Bezos, all of these wealthy, phenomenal individuals that I started to realize success leaves clues. And they all say the same thing. We can either have 2 things. We can either make excuses or we can go out and we can get the results. So there's always going to be the excuse on why we can't go to the gym, why we can't get up early, why we can't show up consistently. But I also know at the same time, every day that I kept saying that to myself, that I kept bringing up an excuse, I kept bringing myself farther away from the results. So that was a huge realization for me. Think about it. Every time that we point the finger, we blame somebody else. We're blaming our family. We're blaming the news. We're blaming social media. When you blame something, look what's happening. One finger is going out. The other fingers are coming right back at us. So it comes right back to taking account. I had to take accountability for my life, for getting up early, for starting to change my diet, for getting around a better influence and network of individuals, right? To stop listening to music all day long and start plugging in some audios. Had to stop listening to Young Thug, had to plug in some Holton Bugs, right? All of these things started to make sense as I started to get into new rituals and new routines, and I stopped making excuses and blaming everybody else and started actually taking the action even on the things that seem scary. But we start small, right? So that's tip number 2. Number 3 is going to be right here. Any change that any of us do, any change that any of us have, Shane in the building, Talina, what's going on? Nobody said it's going to be easy, right? Getting up early at the beginning to me was not easy. If I'm being real, it's still not easy. It's still something that we're growing with every single day. But at the same time, this is something that's important to notice, right? It's all things at the beginning. It's probably going to be hard at first. It's probably going to be messy in the middle, but you know what? It's going to be gorgeous. It's going to be absolutely beautiful in the end. Everything that we find difficult now, at one point in time, that's going to become like second nature with reps, with consistency, with going ahead and getting a little bit more experience and doing these certain activities. That's what starts to happen, right? I was terrible at meditation at the beginning. I could not sit still for 30 seconds, let alone 2 minutes, let alone 5 minutes, let alone 30 minutes, really sitting down and listening to a meditation to be able to clear my thoughts and let everything go away. So the process, yes, it was hard at the beginning. Was it messy in the middle? Absolutely. But now I'm really to the point where anywhere that I go, anywhere that I travel, I can sit and I can find peace of mind because I've started to learn how to go ahead and meditate, right? Learning different principles like this, how to go ahead and apply breath work. So this is huge. This all comes with the process. This all comes with progress. It all comes with consistent practice. Making it become the new normal. Getting up when the sun rises will become the new normal. It's going to feel weird when you get up and you see the sun way up here and you're like, yo, I just missed half of my day. This is the shift that starts to happen when you start really applying these rules, right? Next one, I got 2 more for you. Stick with me. I'm almost done. Number 4 is going to be to have the results. Robin Sharma talks about to have the results of the top 5 producers. We must do what 95% of people are not willing to do. As you start to live like this, he says, the majority of people will call you crazy. Remember that being labeled a freak, he says, is the price of greatness. I love that. And it's funny. I was just having a talk with Adam yesterday. He was like, you know what? As I started to level up a little bit, I'm feeling a little bit of resistance in certain areas of my life. I said, isn't that funny? As we start to level up, as we start to grow, we start to get resistance. We start to get individuals that want to go ahead and pull us down back to their frequency. And I went back and I thought about it. And I was like, this is a part of the journey. This is literally, if you look at mostly anybody's heroic journey, you can't tell me that they didn't go through opposition. You can't tell me that they didn't go through friends and family that didn't see their greatness. I guarantee you. Think about it. When Jordan didn't make his high school team, do you know what his friends and family told about him? You know what they said? I guarantee you they were not telling him he was going to be the greatest player to ever live, for a fact. So think about anybody that we look up to, anybody that you see has greatness that they've been able to go and put on display. They went through this piece of the journey. They went through levels of resistance in different areas of their life. So this is crucial. So if you feel like you have this right now, this is a part of the journey. This actually means you were on the right path. Because if we don't have haters, if we don't have anybody talking, I learned a long time ago, that means we're not being loud enough. We are not taking enough action. And that's why I tell you guys all the time. Are we willing to do today what most people are not willing to do to have a life tomorrow like most can't? Think about that. It's not easy getting up to journal every day. It's not easy getting up to read, to take time for ourselves, to plug into these calls, to ask questions, to be a really great student. But you know what else? It goes the same way on the other side. Goes the same way on the other side. We get to choose our hard. It's hard staying in the same position. It's hard watching our family struggle. It's hard watching so many people live in a world of fear, live in a world of scarcity. That's hard as well. So every day we wake up, we get to choose our hard. We get to go ahead and decide what envelope do we want to go ahead and open. Do we want to open the envelope of possibility, of abundance, of transformation, of growth? Or do we want to go on the other side? Do we want to open back up that same envelope that we've opened up so many times? That envelope that says you're not good enough. The envelope that says you're not meant to be great. The envelope that says you're just like everybody else. Every day we get to choose what side we get to open. And I'm here to tell you, if we can consistently open that side that says you are great, you are a leader, you are powerful, that's where the magic starts to begin, because it happens here first before it ever happens and manifests physically. This is why the morning rituals are so important. This is why visualization and meditation is key to start building the dream life here before it even happens. Most people don't do that. Jim Rohn, Napoleon Hill, they said 1% of people think, 2% of people think they think, 98% of people don't think at all. This is why they are drifters. So taking time for ourselves is key. And last but not least, number 5, the 5th tip from the 5 a.m. club is right here. You ready? This is gold, short and sweet, but it's a banger. When you feel like surrendering, continue. Triumph loves the relentless. Woo! When you feel like surrendering, continue. He says, triumph loves the relentless. This is why they say visions, right, must be tested to see if we're worthy even to go ahead and deserve them. Look at the word testimony. It's the same thing. You cannot spell the word testimony without the word test. There has to be test before we go ahead and get to the testimony. So in every area of life, yes, there's going to be a challenge. Yes, it's going to be an uphill battle, but this is going to be the difference, right? It's only uphill until we start to realize that we can actually have more doing less. Isn't it funny? Think about the shift. We've always been taught it's an uphill battle. But here's the shift that my mentor gave me. He said, think about it like this. What if we've been told life is an uphill battle? But what if it was actually the other way once we start to get aligned with these frequencies, with these knowledge, with these ideologies? What if life was kind of like row your boat gently down the stream? Let this sink in. What if life was like that? What if we could have more doing less? What if we can go ahead and have the law of least effort, where things can just flow into our life? We can become magnetic to the right people, placing opportunities inside of our life. Well, here's how that happens. This happens with taking time for ourselves. This happens with isolation. This happens with being selfish before we can go ahead and be selfless, pouring into our cup every single day so we can have that overflow to feed into the world. So family, with that being said, that's my 5 tips from the 5 a.m. club that I've been able to learn, utilize, and watch others see so much success with. So it just goes to show this abundance is available to every single one of us. So if you got some value for today, drop some 5s, smash that like button down below. And if nobody told you yet today, let me be the first to tell you, I'm proud of you. I appreciate you. I'm so excited to see the growth that is here and to come, because we are just getting started. Remember, we can be, do, and have anything we can hold in our mind. We can hold it right here in our hand. We got big events coming up. Cali, big events. We've got a lot in the works coming to wrap up the end of summer dreamers. Let's go out and turn these dreams into reality. It's game time. Let's get to work.